So, Surabhi, thank you for agreeing to do this. It's good to talk to you. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have been keeping very busy. You've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But I'd like to start with how you thought about going in for a course in dance movement therapy. So, uh, now 2013 to 2015, we were together for masters in Xaviers. And then now tell me what happened. How did you find out about the DMT course and tests and how you went for it?
Okay. So when I was doing my masters, we had to do an internship in summer
Mm,
vacation. So I was doing my internship in Coos, and they were doing something for their inmates. So they had like a dance session every morning, and then the instructor who used to come, she kind of introduced me to this whole concept of dance therapy. But that was just a brief. Then I read up. She had given me a small printout about dance therapy, but that was it. Even after the masters, I had no intentions as such that I want to do this because I took up a job in Setu. While I was
mm,
working in Setu, I found out about this new course starting in India in dance therapy. But by the time I could, actually try and apply, it was already started. So I waited for it and I asked for them to notify me when the next batch starts. So that's what I got it in 2015.
okay.
So and then the because it was so vague because that was just the second batch. So the course was offered by Tata Institute of Social Science in Mumbai. They had
Mm,
collaboration with Kolkata Sonwave. It's an organization run by Sohini Chakraborty. She's a dance therapist,
mm,
and she started this course, which runs in Kolkata and Mumbai. So that's why I got to know through the notification. So I applied it and I got through it. Yes, I had to leave my job and move to Mumbai because the classes were weekend classes, and
mhm.
it was nothing theory. It was all experiential. So it was never that we sat in the class, took up lectures, and then wrote our notes. From the day one, you were put in the session, and whatever you learned from your own experiences, how you felt in the session. So that's how I got into it. What made me think go for it is the one is being a dancer, taking training in dance, classical dance, and also being a psychology student. Dance and psychology together was a perfect, combination coming out as a dance therapy. So that's why I gave it a try.
Okay, so you found out about this before you said when you joined Setu or after you joined Setu?
About the course,
Yeah, the course.
yes, because while I was working in Setu, that was the time they were formulating it. So that's how I got this notification. But by the time I actually processed it, it was too late for me to enroll for first batch. So I was in the second.
Okay. But till that time, you had never thought of anything like this. Even during a master's, you had not thought of anything like this.
No, I never thought I'll go for dance therapy. I know I wanted to do something with psychology, but I never thought I would incorporate dance in a new work of life.
Okay. And yes, I had forgotten that you had interned at Setu as well. I mean, not interned, but worked at Setu. So you were there as a case psychologist for a while.
Yes. So I worked as a psychologist and I did purely assessments.
Hmm.
I mean, pure just assessment. I used to assess children. What happened is there came a time where I just felt that I'm just finding out the problem and I didn't feel I'm doing something. Of course, I know I was playing good part in finding out the problem, but that was the end of my work. I couldn't
Hmm.
do it more. I mean, as in to help it, because then the child will go further to the person who, a counselor or a special educator. Probably
Mm.
that was made me a little bit frustrated, and had I had kind of felt stagnant and
Uh-huh.
there and like a dead end. That's why I wanted to venture, and that's when I had to take this decision. Like, fine, I have to go ahead and do something more.
Okay. There is something I remember from the Setu's website, and that is a photo of all the staff waiting for a photograph where you jump in the air and click a photograph, and you are there on one side. It's there on your website if you have noticed. I think
Yes,
you had a lot of fun, lot of fun at Setu. Setu is a good place to work.
it is definitely a good place to work. They give you a lot of exposure to all different types of children. They send you to different trainings, and they keep doing a lot of trainings. And everyone plays a very crucial role in the working of. And a child on a child there are like two or three people working together. And what
Mm.
is the best thing is, in once a week they have a meeting and everyone discusses it and then take collective decision how to go about in the future work with the child.
Yeah. It's a very well organized setup, and it has benefited thousands of children,
Yes,
if not
we
more.
are working towards getting a better infrastructure. So I think when that happens, lot of children will be helped in a many ways.
Yeah. Hopefully it happens soon. So then you landed up in Bombay at TIS.
Yes.
How was it? How was it? For 6 months course, was it a 1 year?
It was a 1 year course because I had to do internship. So we started off in June when they had
Mm.
their orientation program, because they have a telephonic interview, and then again they had a selection process, like in of the selection process. I don't I like now when I went, I was so prepared in doing some nice high funda dance choreography, and then
Uh,
they asked me to do something which is totally different. That's why, because for me, even I was not sure what exactly dance therapy. For me, it was just like, okay, fine, you're going to dance and make people feel happy. But
uh,
as I went into course, it was different. So it started in June, and I
mm,
moved to Mumbai because the course is a part-time course and it was on the weekends, that is Friday and Saturday. I also
mm.
took up a job, part-time job as a counselor, and so my week used to be job and my weekends used to be college. And
Okay.
yes, why there is no shortage of opportunities and things you want to learn. So I think
Mm.
when I did job as a counselor, I even tried to learn something of writing analysis and much more. And yes, I learned to travel in Mumbai locals alone.
Yes, that I think is by far one of the biggest achievements to travel in Bombay local. Yeah. Okay, there's something interesting I remember. I think you had mentioned it to me in one of our earlier discussions. Is that you don't have to be a very good dancer to be a dance movement therapist,
Hmm. Yes,
right?
because if I do the batch we had, we were around 29 of us, and
Mm.
we had a accountant and a homeopath, a life coach, and the age range, the youngest student was 18 years and the oldest student was 70 years.
Whoa,
Uh-huh.
70.
Yes, yes, she's 70 years. So this is a kind of project from this where they do lifelong learning. So they say, as we know, learning never ends. So
Yeah.
they have started another unit, separate unit for people who want to really do something differently. So this is for that.
Mm.
So it is not necessary that you have to be a dancer, you have to have any prior knowledge. It is an advantage.
Mm.
Moreover, they don't even think that you should know anything of psychology. Because we
Okay.
had students who were just 10 standard or 12 standard. So the
Mm.
psychology will be near to zero. But that's what I said. It is not a theoretical course. What we it is experiential. So it is based
Mm.
on what your experience teaches you. You take it forward.
Okay. Okay. So, in other words, this course is not only for those who are inclined towards dancing themselves, but more inclined for those who want to use dance and movement as a form of a therapeutic
Yes,
intervention.
yes. Actually,
Okay.
now what is happening is now because there's so much of confusion with this term dance,
Mm,
we try to use it as a creative movement therapy. So
mm,
movement is essential part in the whole concept, but we're trying to not use word dance other, because people are getting very confused, and
mm.
the whole energy goes in explaining them what it is.
Yeah, and this is important because not everything that is called therapy is necessarily a therapy. You need to have evidence for something that works, and
Correct.
this is something that has come out through enough empirical evidence to show that it is effective.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about the history. I mean, where it began and how is it placed across the world right now?
Dance therapy basically started with this amazing lady called Marian Chase, and
Mm,
it is not very old. It is just about to complete 100 years. So Marian Chase was a dancer because at time that elite dancers were ballet dancers.
mm,
So
mm,
she was taking classes with her students. She suddenly found out that students would she could connect with students. The students would come and tell her what they had some in their mind. Found out
huh,
that some students are not really that good in dance, but still they came to her classes because ballet is supposed to be, you have to be perfect. Otherwise, you just don't go for it. So that's
yeah.
how she found out that there is something happening in the classes. There is something
Mm,
that is making difference to these people. That's why they're still coming. And
mm,
then as she spoke to them, she found out that yes, dance and movement is doing something to these people that they're feeling good. So
okay.
then she got started getting popular, and then there's this hospital, or it's an Elizabeth hospital in US, where they had veteran war soldiers. She
Mm,
started
mm,
taking sessions there, and then they started feeling because they were going through post-traumatic stress disorder after World War II.
yes. Yes.
So that's how she started with the work, and then because she was supported by Freud and Jung.
Ah.
There
Oh.
are instances where Freud and Jung has also kind of, developed dance therapy, and how, of course, Freud will connect it with sexual part of, but Jung still said when after all this, what was found out that people, when things happen to them in life, they save those memories in the body,
Mm, mm.
and then you move the body, those memories they get released as a form of catharsis. So that is a basic premise you can say of dance therapy that was established.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting to see how it has been charted out. And so now, what you mentioned is that so dance therapy has been found to be effective with PTSD. In
It
which
has,
other?
I mean, dance therapy is such thing that it can be done with anyone and everything.
Okay.
Can be done with a child as uh, young as even a week.
Mm,
It is movement, it is non-verbal, and
mm,
the client or the patient or does not need not talk and need
mm,
not, but it just takes the raw authentic movement from the person, innate movement that is inborn, because we talk about body language tells a lot about person. Same way,
mm.
movement tells a lot about person. We know that if person is sad, movement will be the movement itself gets more. The person is happy. The person is quite
Correct.
quick and fast. So
Mm,
right from 1 week to oldest person, anyone and everyone who has a desire to move, movement therapy can happen. Even if you can move, like there are cases where they have done therapy with patients who are paralyzed, who has paralysis, but can move at least tips of fingers or
okay.
breathe. Even movement therapy can give, because it is basically healing. One thing I want to really underline that it is not a treatment and it is
Mhm.
always used as supportive therapy. So dance
Okay.
cannot be used as a whole treatment, like this whole
Mhm.
treatment, always as a supportive therapy. But that doesn't
Okay.
mean it is any less than other.
Yeah. Yeah. And at this point, I think we need to talk about your personal experience of working with a very difficult population of children when you came back to Goa, right? This is where the project at Sanjay School comes in, where we work together to introduce a kind of an intervention to see if dance movement therapy can be applied to the children there. And it
Yes,
worked fantastically well, right?
yes. And
And
children, I think, whatever fantastic plans and session plans you have, they just get tossed in the dustbin when you enter there. So that was, it was like, I, when I came out of my course, I thought it would be very nice because I have been working with adults. But when I entered the session, showed me the life में ऐसे होता है. So our population was
yeah,
intellectual disability. Being a special school, you cannot always predict what is going to happen. Uh, the sessions were easy because I had volunteers with me. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult for me to handle. And what happens is in the school when there's something new what to take, they're always skeptical. But luckily, I don't know, we are very lucky that Sanjay School and even Chai was so open for this new
mm,
idea that they actually gave us green signal for it and very supportive. They gave us whatever facilities we asked. Like it was like I could go to sessions and I said, okay, fine, I want this child. Okay, look it up. I remember only once or twice I actually executed session according to my plan. Otherwise, it would just go in the bin and I would
mm,
end up doing something completely different. Only the last session I remember I took help of 50 teachers to finally execute it. Otherwise, hardly any session I could do what I planned because in dance therapy it is basically client oriented. It is not
mm,
what therapists want. It is what clients want. If you know how person centered therapy works,
mm.
so dance movement therapy is a dancing version or moving version of person-centered therapy. So it
Okay.
is everything about the client. So you start where the client is. So if I enter the session, child wants to sit and roll on the floor, I cannot tell the child that okay, fine, now you have to take up. I have to reach to the child's level and then kind of try to get the child at a up where I want. And with special children, what happened is though we said we want exclusively intellectual disability, but even autistic children, there was some with physical disabilities. Uh, that time it was very frustrating, but now over the period of time, I think maybe helps me kind of gain confidence.
Mm.
The results didn't really get great results because one is the children were never always
But
present.
but you know what? It was a short-term project, and I think it was more exploratory in nature. I mean, we didn't
Yes,
expect to find long-term results in the project, anyways. Yeah,
yes,
it was more to see whether the dance movement therapy could act as a complement to whatever
yes.
else was happening in the school, and whether it could have some positive outcomes in the classroom as well.
So that's those session used to be there, that timeout because I all the time the children were either in the class or probably on the ground, but they were never left kind of without any restrictions like cannot go do this do that you have to be in this line or either they were with their physical education teachers so it was
Mm,
just game or some exercise they would do but this space they got where they could do anything and everything that was accepted maybe it was a way of them feeling yes I can do whatever I want in a safe environment and I will not be judged.
Yeah, and it translated into a lot of benefits beyond that sessions as well, no? Because I think we got good feedback from even the teachers
Yes.
regarding some children.
Yes. Teachers, I mean, initially they didn't really pay attention. Like, okay, fine, someone is coming in 6 months. Okay, fine, take one less child in the class for at least 2 hours. But slowly, when they started seeing, okay, the children actually really wanting to do the class, so that kind of brings a structure to a child's day. Look, okay,
Mhm.
today is this day, so this time to this time, I will have to go for session. So it is a way of teaching a child a structure, some kind of structure in a day.
Okay. And I always give this example in class, because one of the things that people are very worried about when they choose psychology is the availability of jobs.
Hmm.
And then I end up giving them the example of my friend, my colleague, Surabhi Thakur, who created a job for herself in the school that she ran the project in, right? So eventually, Sanjay's school approached you in the position of a psychologist, and you are teaching there now as a full-time employee of the school, isn't it? How is it going?
I'm not a full-time employee as yet.
Mm.
What happened is, I after we submit our report to child rights commission, I doctor asked me to go and submit the report to the school because we have used their children and their infrastructure. We owe them this report. So
Yeah,
I went to the headmaster and I said, "Sir, it was like a very tailored speech. Sir, it was a nice experience. You all helped us, and this is the result." And he said, "Okay, fine. Now go and show it to chairman." And I was not prepared for it.
uh,
Uh, so we both went to the chairman's office, and then he asked me each and every detail of the project, like children and props and how did I plan. I
mm,
was new that time, but I told, and then he said, "What you're doing?" So I was doing a part-time job as a counselor in one of the colleges. So he said, "Will you be able to do it for our children?" I said, "Okay, if I'm going getting," because my intention was if I do it like a voluntary also forget, but I will be able to establish a long time result or some. I think I could get more result like post intervention results I could have got. So
correct.
he said, "You could do it." I said, "Yeah, I can do it also." Because as it is, my job was a part time and I used to be free 3 days a week. Then he happened to ask me, "What is your qualification?" I said, "I'm master's in clinical psychology." And for a moment, both of them the chairman and the headmaster was staring at each other. And I don't know what to say. And they suddenly started laughing. And the chairman said, "You know what I'm thinking, right?" And the headmaster was nodding his head. So apparently that time there was a leave vacancy for a psychologist who had gone on some maternity or something.
Okay.
So then they were looking for psychologists. So he said, "This is the case. Why you don't apply?" Do you have your employment card?" I said, "No. I
Mm.
give you 3 days. Please get your employment card in place. I want you to attend this interview." I came out trembling, and but then I said, "So what do you want me to do?" I wanted to do this dance therapy." I said, "Okay." And the next bomb was, "You have to go to all the centers." I said, "Okay, where are the centers?" He said, "There's this one, then there's one in Forwarin, then there's one in Vasco, and then there's one in Pucharam."
Whoa. Okay.
And I said, "Okay," because for me, I didn't know the whole distance of Pucharam and where I live. So I agreed to it, got my documents in place, and attended interview. There were still two people on the interview panel, and someone was very fresh, or someone had a lot of influence. So this was not in June, so it was in August. So I joined in the first year pretty late. So their timetable and everything was already put. They were already approaching an exam. But the headmaster he just said, "No, you have to take it." So if any teacher says no, tell me, I will make sure that the teacher gives you a slot. So
Mm.
first term was trial and error. There are many times I got stabbed, bitten, scratched, bent. But of course, the support was very good. And then, how actually I had difficulty telling teachers what I'm doing. So what happens is every Diwali vacation and summer vacation, the teachers have their courses. They have their training courses. So I was called to take sessions for teachers. So management wanted
Okay.
me everywhere for teachers, even for helping staff, for office staff, for students, for watchmen, for security, everyone. So
Wow.
that's how I took sessions for teachers for 10 days, and that's how they came
Mm,
to know. After that,
mm.
was support enormous. The teachers wanted me to take sessions for their children. Like even if I don't come, they will make sure that I kind of compensate that someday. Next year, that is this year, which just ended, 2019 and 20, I started in June with a
Mm.
proper planning,
Okay.
proper structured slots for each children. And
Mm.
then it was going, it was going very, 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 very well. Suddenly, I got a note from headmaster, please come and meet me. I tried to remember all the wrong things I have done. Then he said, "You are a dance fitness instructor." I said, "Yes, sir." Okay, so from tomorrow onwards, you have to take Zumba for children in the morning.
So you're doing Zumba as well as dance movement
Eh,
therapy.
Yes, it is crazy because
Mm.
after assembly, everyone gets 10 minutes slot where they can change if they want. So it is
Yeah.
they Sunday school is divided into four sections. So they have one section for hearing impaired, one section for slow learners, one for adults, like the ones above 18 years in a vocational
Mm.
section, and one is a Sanjeevani section, which is the intellectual disability and whatever comes under it. So every
Mm.
section was given a day. So they after assembly they would get a time to change if they want, and in the hall everyone is dancing like
Mm.
proper. And later it turned out to be a dance party. But that it used to be not for long, but just 20 minutes or so. But then
Mm.
even that turned out to be useful. Like if a person would come and see it, they would say, "Hey, what they're wasting time. Like I'm not doing dance therapy with them." But when it comes to dance therapy, there are two elements in it. One is dance therapy, and one is therapeutic dance.
Okay.
So therapy has to follow a very structured ways. There in a session there are parts of session, but therapeutic dance is dance anything that makes you feel good.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So I had a very kind of it's like loopholes to kind of justify everything, and the management they just wanted it for everyone, so they made sure staff, office staff, even helping staff, they get an opportunity, and it helped in a lot of ways. There's somehow different bonding started with teachers. Like they were not just sitting there and waiting, but since they started dancing together, they had a different bonding that was created. Children were
Yeah.
very, 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 very enthusiastic. They would come and give me a playlist of songs they would dance on.
Customizing, huh?
Yes,
DJ ये
yes,
बजा.
yes, yes. There are times I had to just stand there and mind the children. There were like 200 students at a time in the place, and I just have to sit there and play music. And there are
Oh.
get down on the stage and the children would take over. So,
Huh.
and that to happen with also slow learners and intellectual disability children. And they would go on top and lead the entire group. And I let it happen
Wow.
because it is such a self-esteem building for them to take lead,
Yeah.
leadership teaching way.
Mm. So now, what's the plan ahead now? I mean, where do you see this going?
I mean, right now the conditions are such that it is a lot of uncertainty. So let's see. I mean, for me, it's not that I need a government job. For me, as long as I get to do something which is helping someone, I'm okay with it. So what I along with Sanjay School, I also go to different colleges to kind of expose them, to show them what is dance therapy, kind of make them
Mm.
understand the ways you can pursue this. Um, I I also I also help healthcare professionals. I have some, like I work for a doctor
Mm.
who is, she's an Ayurvedic doctor, but she also deals with cases with mental health. So
Okay.
she takes so it's like a case wise. So we work on one case. She takes
Mm.
yoga for that case, and I do dance therapy with them. It's like a healing
Mm.
process for that. And then I uh, kind of take sessions for an organization. Say, some person
Okay.
wants, like
So,
I like it was a full circle when I started taking sessions for coach.
oh, you went back to coach and you took test
I went
sessions for
back.
them.
I went back to coach, but it
Uh,
used to get exhausting because uh, 8 back-to-back sessions, and the time slot they gave me was 2 to 3. So
mm.
back-to-back sessions, 8 back-to-back sessions, and till 1:30, and then to reach there two, it used to really take toll on my health. So I
Yeah.
stopped.
Okay. So, but what you're saying, in other words, is that um, you have to. There's a lot of self-starting that is required here. You need to be looking out for opportunities and try and
Mm.
connect with whoever you can, because this is a new field, like you mentioned. There are not many takers out there. Sometimes the awareness is also not there.
Like from my institute, there are only two of us. One is in Goa. Her name is Klizma. She was in my first batch, and
Oh,
then second
Klizma,
is
Klizma is right now doing her masters in Chogule College. She might actually see this video later on.
uh,
She's doing a masters there with us.
yeah. So
Yeah.
she's my senior because she took that first batch in this, and I was the
Okay.
second batch. And
Okay.
then,
Okay.
uh, but there are a lot of therapists who keep coming. Like if you know Owl House.
No, no, I don't know.
Okay, Owl is a new place which is started somewhere around Moira, where
Okay.
yeah, you can look up. They're doing very great job with special children. So they keep calling for therapists from Mumbai and Bangalore. So they keep doing sessions.
Yeah, so what would your final advice be for someone who's thinking of going into this field and doing similar courses and training themselves to become dance or movement or creative movement therapists? What would your advice be to them?
One thing is because we live in Goa, which
Mm.
this is still slower than the world outside. I can say bluntly because I have experienced it in Mumbai. Education wise, the kind of courses and opportunities and work happening in Goa is a bit slower. In Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, there are so many NGOs. Like I see so many ads. If anyone is ready to move out and do work, dance therapy, and would be a great way because one, it's not like your boring 9 to 5 job. Two,
Mm.
it is not a talk therapy. It is
Mm.
never. I mean, of course, there is debriefing that happens after every session or after every course, but it is not like a talk therapy where you have to ask the person what is happening, then give suggestions, and do work. There's nothing. And yeah, it is therapy for therapists as well,
Mm.
but if and it is not necessary like even a person with physical disability can take this course. There's nothing that you have to be physically mobile or something. Go
Mm.
want to take it, you have to be ready to actually find your way. Like you have to really go and meet people, talk to them, tell them what they're doing because they're not going to understand unless you show them. When I go to colleges to talk about it, I actually see benches put up, and okay, fine, this is your podium, this is your screen. Okay, fine, now tell us about
Oh, okay.
that. So my 10 minutes go in clearing the space. If anyone goes, I think the best approach is not to approach students, but the teachers and the head, and just put them in the session.
Huh.
It,
So
it,
unless you
it,
experience it, you don't realize the true benefit of how it
it,
can
in
work.
Sanjay school, it's like my reputation is I'm the one who could make headmaster dance on my tune.
Good, yeah,
But
good.
then it just creates the air, it creates a very different air. And then when they realize it, they understand what this is capable of. Otherwise, it will be just you going and doing session, and the students will just think it is someone who has come and done some session. How
Yeah,
we had those things. Someone has come giving us a lecture, will go. For
correct,
students, it will
yes.
be that way. So the best approach is go and target the stakeholders or management.
Okay. All right. So, and in case students who listen to this have any more questions or any more doubts regarding this, how can they contact you?
Uh, my number is the going one. They can contact me anytime. You can post my number and email address. So
Okay.
my I can say my number is 9561782255, and my email address is Surabhi S Thakur 07 at gmail.com.
Well, there you
So
go. So then they can effectively get in touch with you directly and ask you
yes,
whatever's on their mind.
yes. In fact, because of the lockdown, there is another organization called CIMTAI, Creative Movement Therapy Association of India. It is the only concrete organization for dance therapy in India, and it's doing a lot of
What's it
work.
called? What's it called again?
That Creative Movement Therapy Association of India,
Creative Movement Therapy Association of India. Okay. All right. Okay.
and
So I think we'll look it up.
they are having their diploma courses, their whole certification. There is they keep coming up with workshops, even for
Hmm.
different profession, and now they are having all online courses. So, and it is not necessary that you should have any prior knowledge of DMT in the short courses, because
Hmm.
the way they take it, they start from basic. So, if and
Hmm.
you can following their website, they keep coming up with a lot of courses. But before that, doing that course, you will not get a license to practice dance therapy, but it
Ah,
will be an added knowledge to you.
okay. I'm sure they're going to check it out, and I'm sure you're going to have some of them come and talk to you about this as well. Oh, I think I have taken a lot of your time. It's been a tiring day for you. It's the end of a tiring day.
Psychology.
Yeah, psychology. Yeah, talking about psychology is always fun. So good. So thank you, Surabhi. Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this.
Thank you,
Right?
Arish. I hope
Yeah,
someone takes interest in DMT and will really take it forward.
yeah. Hope so too. Hope so too. All right. I will see you then. Bye.
Bye.